Hey guys, tonight you become the quiet soul responsible for one of the most beautiful places inside a medieval castle. While knights polish their armor, nobles prepare for lavish feasts, and servants rush through echoing stone halls, your day begins in near silence. Your greatest enemy isn't an invading army or a hungry dragon. It's an unexpected frost, a patch of stubborn weeds, and perhaps one particularly determined rabbit with expensive taste in vegetables. You probably wouldn't last very long if you expected castle life to be all royal banquets and dramatic trumpet fanfares. Instead, you'll spend hours with muddy boots, chilled fingers, and the pleasant scent of rosemary clinging to your clothes. Surprisingly, that's exactly what makes this life so peaceful. So, before you settle into the gardens, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy these relaxing journeys through history. And if you're listening from somewhere around the world tonight, let me know your location and your local time in the comments. It's always fascinating to see where these sleepy adventures reach. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, get comfortable beneath your blankets, and let's wander through the dew-covered paths of a medieval castle together. The morning air feels cool against your face, long before the first rays of sunlight touch the castle walls. The enormous fortress still sleeps. Only a few kitchen servants are awake, quietly preparing fires for breakfast, while somewhere in the distance, a sleepy rooster announces another ordinary day. You pull your wool cloak a little tighter as you step onto the narrow stone path leading toward the gardens. Tiny droplets of dew sparkle on every blade of grass. The flowers seem almost asleep themselves, their colorful petals still folded against the cold morning air. This peaceful place is your responsibility. Unlike the lord of the castle, who worries about politics, taxes, and neighboring kingdoms, your greatest concern today is whether the lavender survived the cool night. You carry a simple basket made from woven willow branches. Inside are a small iron trowel, pruning shears, a bundle of twine, and a smooth whetstone used to keep your blades sharp. These tools aren't fancy, but they have served gardeners for generations. In medieval Europe, castle gardens were far more than decoration. They supplied kitchens with vegetables, physicians with healing herbs, chapels with flowers, and sometimes even the castle's defenses with useful plants that could be dried and stored during long winters. Historians still debate exactly how elaborate many castle gardens were, since surviving records vary greatly from one region to another. Some castles contained only practical vegetable plots, while others featured carefully designed ornamental spaces filled with roses, lilies, and fragrant herbs. As you pass beneath an old stone archway, birds begin singing from the branches above. Their songs echo softly between the castle walls, creating the closest thing medieval gardeners had to morning music. The first task is always observation. Before touching a single plant, you simply walk, slowly, quietly. You notice fresh footprints left by a curious fox during the night. A few cabbage leaves show tiny bite marks from adventurous rabbits. One climbing rose has stretched farther than expected and gently leans across the pathway. Nothing dramatic, nothing urgent. Just another peaceful morning, waiting for careful hands. Ahead, the herb garden releases faint scents of mint, sage, thyme, and rosemary as the cool breeze drifts across the begs. Even before breakfast, the air smells fresh enough to wake anyone still half asleep. You kneel beside the nearest patch of lavender and gently brush away a few fallen leaves. The soil feels slightly damp from last night's moisture. That's good news. It means today's watering can wait until the afternoon, saving precious effort. Not every day in a medieval castle was filled with excitement. For gardeners like you, that was perfectly fine. In fact, the quieter the day, the healthier the garden usually became. The sun finally begins to rise above the castle walls, spilling warm golden light across the garden paths. The shadows that stretched long across the grass only moments ago slowly retreat, revealing hundreds of tiny spider webs sparkling with morning dew. You pause for a moment. It's one of your favorite sights. No noble in the castle is awake early enough to enjoy this quiet miracle. But that doesn't bother you. In a strange way, it feels like nature has arranged this little performance just for the gardeners. Your first real task is collecting water. There are no hoses, sprinklers, or convenient taps. Hand. You make your way toward the stone well in the center of the courtyard, where a wooden bucket hangs from a thick rope worn smooth by countless hands before yours. The rope creaks softly as the bucket disappears into the darkness below. A second later, splash. The sound echoes upward from the cool water hidden deep underground. You slowly pull the bucket back to the surface. It is surprisingly heavy, and by the time you fill your watering cans, your shoulders already remind you that medieval gardening is excellent exercise, whether you asked for it or not. Fortunately, the flowers never complain. You begin with the youngest plants. Small seedlings need gentle care. Too much water can drown them. Too little allows the morning sun to dry their fragile roots before noon. So you pour carefully. One slow stream, then another. Each plant receives just enough. Castle gardening teaches patience more effectively than any monk ever could. Nearby, rows of fragrant herbs quietly turn. Sage, thyme, fennel, parsley, and mint grow in neat squares bordered by low stones. These aren't simply pleasant additions to meals. In medieval life, herbs were incredibly valuable. Mint helped freshen stale breath after meals. Sage was believed to ease sore throats. Rosemary was often associated with memory and remembrance. Many castles relied on these gardens because professional doctors were expensive, and medicine often began with whatever could be grown just outside the kitchen door. Of course, medieval medicine was a curious mixture of practical knowledge and hopeful guessing. Some herbal remedies genuinely worked. Others probably made patients wonder whether the illness had been the better option. Historians continue debating exactly which remedies were truly effective, because written records often mixed careful observation with superstition. Still, many herbs grown in medieval gardens remain useful even today. As you finish watering the herbs, a gentle buzzing through the air. Bees. Several honeybees move lazily between purple lavender blossoms, completely uninterested in your presence. They have their own busy schedule. Without realizing it, these tiny workers help ensure that next season's flowers, fruits, and vegetables continue to thrive. The castle may belong to the Lord, but in many ways, the garden belongs to the bees. You continue along the narrow gravel path toward the vegetable beds. Bright green cabbage leaves spread like giant fans across the soil. Nearby, onions stand in tidy rows, while carrots hide quietly beneath the earth, pretending they don't exist. You'll discover them later, hopefully before someone accidentally steps on them. You kneel beside a patch of beans, climbing rough wooden poles tied together with twine. One vine has wandered away from its support during the night. With gentle fingers, you guide it back into place. No force, no hurry. Plants, you've learned, respond better to kindness than impatience.
The work is repetitive. Water. Inspect. Trim. Walk. Repeat. Yet each task carries a comforting rhythm. You begin noticing things few others ever see. A ladybird resting beneath a leaf. Fresh bird feathers caught on a rose bush. The scent of damp earth warming beneath the morning sun. Tiny ants building roads between stones. Even the breeze seems slower here. Beyond the garden walls, the castle is finally coming alive. Kitchen fires crackle. Stable boys lead horses into the yard. Somewhere above, a heavy wooden door slams shut. Voices echo faintly through stone corridors. But out here, the world still feels wonderfully quiet. You smile to yourself. The vegetables are healthy. The herbs are growing well. The flowers survived another cool night. For a medieval gardener, that's more than enough excitement for one beautiful morning.